Hey guys, welcome back. This is the beginning of the video. Everything's done. As typical 1 hour garage, I did shitty job filming stuff. But as I explain later, I have not built a transmission in over 25 years. So I did a lot of, and I do that little bit of time. So I'll put something together and then I'm like, man, I don't think I did that right. I pulled it apart. I must have pulled this transmission apart like 5 or 6 times. It literally took me from taking it out to getting it back in and driving was about 4 weeks. So clearly not very good at this. And there was a couple other little problems you'll see later, or you might have seen the short already. So anyway, let's get into it and we'll show you what we did, or at least what I filmed of what I did. So you can see, guys, we got the drive shaft out already. We put the old pan back on because we don't want to bend the new one. Got the shifter off, connector disconnected, and all the bolts are out of the torque converter. So got to drop the exhaust still, and then hopefully we'll be able to get to the bolts on the bell housing all right. There it is, out from underneath the car, guys. Ooh, it was a struggle. I actually had to tilt the front end just at the front of the transmission down just at the right angle, and then pull it out right in between the motor mount or the trans mount there, so that I could get the back end up enough to get it all the way underneath the car and then drag it out. It was a pain in the ass, but I got it all by myself. I don't know how I'm going to put it back in by myself, but we got a rebuild to do before I have to worry about any of that, huh? All right, guys, you can see we got the pan off, tail housing off. We're just taking it apart. Pump out, got it apart. It's I looked at it already. Oh, we get that out. Man, it's hard with one hand. But there's no grind marks on it, or grind marks. There's not any nicks or anything in any of the surfaces. Everything feels tight. Everything looks good. It's dirty. I'm hoping that all that material was just clutch material. I can't really tell. There's that back together. Pump looks good overall. Bushings in there look good. You can see there, bushing still all brass, coppery colored. So I'll keep moving on. Not a complete smoking gun, but seeing a little damage to a couple of these clutches in here. Out of this whole pack, I've already put those back in. These are the only two that really, or few that had heat damage, and all the clutches feel a little tore up on this one too. You can see a little bit there. It looks kind of funky, but no smoking gun yet. Gonna keep going. Still no complete smoking gun for all the material, but again, clutches got some damage on them. You can see that one's got some. Definitely will speak for some of the material, but as dirty as this thing is, I don't know. Again, let's keep going. I didn't like the idea of putting vice grips on here and marring up any of these surfaces. I started to, and I had to clean it up a little bit. You can kind of see here a couple little nicks when I put the vice grips on there. I had seen in some other videos. So I did. I've got some 550 cord, just anything strong, and then put a zip tie into the thing and locked it in. It seems to be holding it up. So we're going to give that a try and see if that will actually work for dropping this whole assembly down in. That worked pretty freaking good. Cut the zip tie out. Biggity bam. That worked out pretty freaking good. You can see we did a big jump ahead here. Got the whole internals back in, valve body on, the whole deal. I know you guys didn't even see me struggling. I haven't, like I said, I think I said at the beginning that I haven't built automatic transmission like 25 plus years. So I must have pulled it apart and put it back together like maybe like 5 or 6 times, thinking maybe I messed something up. Just double checking things, because I do stuff in such a short period of time that when I go back to it, I'm like, did I do that? I don't know. So I go back and double check it. And so here we are. Everything's back together for the most part. Got to put the pan back on, or put a pan back on, and put the tail shaft housing on. And then we'll go from there, get it back up in the car, and see if all of this worked or not. All right, guys, I'll bring you back in a little bit. Some days are better than others. I got the transmission back in. Awesome. Unfortunately, this is not one of those days. That is the spacer for the torque converter snout to fit into the back of the crank. Apparently, it fell off and I didn't notice it, and it was sitting underneath a pile of tools. Damn, I'm stupid.
I ain't gonna bullshit you. This ain't the first drive. I drove it, and it shifts through the gears. I'm just as shocked as you guys are. So let's take you for a ride. Show you it shift.
There it is. It's all back together. It's running, driving, shifting gears. Like I said, I'm just as shocked as you are. I figured this was coming out at least once for me to fix something. But I guess I did a little bit better job. I paid attention and went off the book and went to the forums a few times, or not forums, the Facebook groups a couple times, and asked some questions about stuff. And as you see, I did mess up and with the spacer. And there's a couple other things I missed here and there, and when going back like I did, I caught them. So there is that advantage to that, doing it that way. So that'll be it for this video. Next videos, hoping to be the track soon. Trying to up my safety game a little bit. I'm going to order a new helmet and Hans device. And then I got to get the coolant out of it. It still has coolant in it. I'd like to change the oil. The rear end needs to go over just like a 1/4 inch. It's not quite centered in there from when I was messing around with some stuff. I moved the axle a little bit back forward. It was rubbing, went on big bumps, so I moved the axle a little bit further forward than it was to center it up in the wheel well a little bit. So I just need to move that back over a little bit. The other thing I noticed in the one of the previous videos, we did the locker. We rebuilt the locker, and I always thought that the gears were noisy and whiny. It might have been that locker being put together wrong. When I took it for a drive, the rear end was a lot quieter than it ever had been. So I don't know, maybe that's something with it. So that'll be it. I'm not going to tell you Facebook or Instagrams because I haven't been posting shit. So don't go over there and look at that stuff. Doesn't matter. Anyways, see you next time.